Alright folks, finally we can do this now. The final patch of the year has dropped on the common test, so now we know all the tanks up for play in holiday ops. So prediction time, or probability list, fantasy pick if you want to call it that. But last year we got pretty close, 11 out of 12. I thought there was going to be 2 repeats, a vehicle already debuted throughout the year, so the 𝗛cie or GSOR Tintin FB, which makes sense because for years prior we got the Vipeira, AMBT, or WZ120 or 122 TM, and the 𝗛cie T56. All of these are repeats, already happened throughout the year, but turns out, surprise, 2 tier 9 premiums, not just one, also heavy tanks, not just a light tank. So there may be surprises, but for now we'll go with the same format as last year. So 1 repeat and the rest are 2 tier 9 and 2 tier 8. But let's get the easy stuff out of the way. Very easy stuff. We're both guessing with WoT Express and my guess, but we're both guessing the low tier vehicles, obviously. The Panzer 38K, that's a given. The SU100i, what else? The 𝗛cie. They usually don't put low tier vehicle nowadays. Wargaming stopped giving out or debuting low tier premiums. They just give up. 𝗛cie 2. What else? The M3A3 Stuart. Now, probably not 2 American tanks, right? The T3E2 convertible medium tank. So yeah, not exactly 2 tier 3s in the box, but so we're going to put, I think, for well-deserved reward, obviously the Gobbler's Destroyer. So if you don't know any of these vehicles, we have covered it on the channel, all of it throughout the year. I'm not going to put all the freaking vehicle profile and pictures up here. It will take a long ass time. No thanks. And New Year's gift will likely be the Stuart. I'm giving out the Stuart. I'm not giving. We already have the T3E1 convertible medium tank, so I'm giving out the Stuart, and we're placing the Stuart away from the actual loot box, and we're putting the AMR P103 right here. So a tier 2, similar to the last year's Vickers 6-ton. You don't really care about it, but whatever. So the same pick for me. I don't know what they pick. They didn't even pick Gobbler's Destroyer or the gift. They just put it all in one place for low tier. But this is my pick technically. So let's cut this from here. That's my pick. They're picking the same practically, just not the actual well-deserved reward and New Year's gift. But they're picking, so this is the fun part. They are picking right off the bat the VZ68, the Squall, the autocannon light tank for the Czech, which makes sense. I mean, we don't have a crew trainer for the whole freaking tech tree, so makes sense. They're picking the FV226, the Contradictious, also, yeah, given. They're picking XM57 and DZT 159. So this is their pick. This is WoT Express leaks, quote unquote. Sometimes they're correct, sometimes they're not. So we'll have to see, but quote unquote leaks, right? And the Toro. All right. Obviously, we're going to pick the FV226 Contradictious. It's very much the same pattern with years prior. You got the Type 63 foreshadowing the Japanese heavy tank that nobody plays until like tier 8 or something, but they don't play the tier 10. The BZ176 debuting the Chinese heavy tanks with rockets, but none of them have howitzer. It was deemed way too OP, so that got scrapped. And then, was it the Yo tank? The year prior? That was funny. I thought it was the... Really? The ST2 came out like 5+ years ago? Holy crap. The 703, I thought it was debuting for the double barrel system. I think it is still. That's five 5 years ago? Holy crap. A freaking Apocalypse tank came out 5 years ago. And then the Basante for Italian heavy. So there usually is a representation of a tech tree coming soon. And we know about the can opener, the FV230 and the 229, the contender. So this is pretty much a given. So where the hell is the... Where's it? This is pretty much 100%, like 99.9% given. This is very, very much given. So, alright. So 2 tier 9s, 2 tier 8s, and 1 repeat. So here is the list of all the vehicles that came out this year. We saw a lot of freaking loot box. We saw a loot box for these two, the Lunar New Year loot box. Saw a loot box for these two with the Leprechaun or St. Patrick's Day. We saw a loot box for these two with... Was it a loot box? Yes, it is, with the Star Trek stuff, right? I don't remember, but so many loot box. A loot box for this... Was it this thing or... No, loot box obviously for, yeah, these two. Not the Strasser V4, that's a gift. For Waffenträger, right? And more loot box. E77 was also a loot box, right? These two. I don't remember. There were a lot of loot box, but as you can see, not many vehicles that are straight up selling. So perhaps they're going to put the CS52C in the box again. Just so a gold placement, right? You don't have to get all the freaking 5 new vehicles for repeat of the gold, so you get 1 duplicate. So it's either the Nemesis or CS52C, but the Nemesis came in a box along with the AAT60. So I'm guessing the repeat for this year is a CS52C. It's like with the GSOR Tintin FB or AMBT, Vipera, yada yada. So it could be the Nemesis, but I'm guessing the repeat is the CS52C. Alright, that's the pretty much given list. Alright, that's the setting stone. So let's take a look at the original vehicles. So, ancient vehicle, technically. The K91-2 with the forward mounted turret of the 100. Unlikely. It's been a while, so they could put it into Battle Pass or Token Tank, but it's been a while. The same applies to the Lada Stridsforden. This already came out for the Chinese server, I believe. Or even for the Asian server too, with their loot box. So, I say unlikely. Since we shared the actual Holiday Ops stuff, I say unlikely. It's like a long time already. So, 5%. 5%. Alright. These things already came out. So, most of these, the Udarni, the 259A, practically the same vehicle with different armor profile. The Model 6, oh my god, that has a skin too. Just do a skin for fun and not even release the vehicle. But 113-2 is 113 with the Object 140's turret. These already came out on the Asian server in some way or form. So since we share Holiday Ops, unlikely, I say 5%. So they usually do like Autumn Festival loot box or something. So 5% across the board. You're not likely. Yeah, you're not likely for all these. T44 lightweight. That's a long ass time for that thing. These are ancient vehicles, unlikely. The Russian server had assembly shop for the T34M with the T54's turret. Prototype turret, but yeah, they had it already, so Russian server is their thing. What the hell is this? Konish gun on the VK36. Oh, I remember this. The Russian server got this vehicle for well-deserved reward. They did not get the Panzer IV F2 for theirs. So, yeah, for last year, they got the Konish VK36. Funny enough. Alright, that's unlikely. 1%. not even crazy. Alright, T26 Chinese version actually came out about 2 years ago. So we thought it could be New Year's gift or reward, but scrapped for now, I guess. Still, I think it will still be scrapped. VK65, large box, unlikely, 1%. It's not coming out. No, it's still collecting dust. The Chinese server are selling the LTS85, practically PT76. So they're, it's not as unlikely as with the ancient vehicles, but I'm saying 20%. It's not really that likely still. And a K2 or IS4 Proto with the Object 701 came out last year too, but it's close. So no repeats of nations, I presume. So you're gonna have 2 Russian tanks, right? Yeah, no 2 Russian tanks, at least for the high tiers. So have to have a representation out of each and every nation. They have to be different, I presume. But alright, we'll think about this one. This one is still, it's a little bit better than the LTS because you want to have a heavy, not a light tank out of the box. But I still say unlikely for now. We're putting 0% for fun vehicles. So this is basically a timeline chronologically of all the vehicle released throughout this year onto the super test, not the actual or not onto the actual public or common players. But yeah, unlikely for the stupid box of FCM2C. No, not even close. This thing has been changed in this patch. This is might likely Chrysler MTC 2TC. It's American, so it's different than the British or Polish, but it has been changed. It has been nerfed too. We're putting it at 75%. It's likely. It could be since the recent touching of it, but this thing shown off on the Chinese loot box for autumn. And they're a little bit different. I mean, they already have the vehicle. It's the same concept with the Asian server, with stuff like the Yak Tiger Proto or their earlier picks of stuff like the Model 6 WZ111. So this is unlikely, I think, for holiday ops. The Chinese server has a surprising tie-in with our server in the ways of events. They're still having the Viking TV show marathon right now. For some reason, I mean, do they even watch Viking TV show? I have no idea. So unlikely. I think unlikely for the 168G. I think unlikely. But for now, maybe like 45%. Yeah, 45 seems good. SU-122V. It's a special playstyle. It got changed dramatically. It's a little bit better than the 168G. Not much. I say 65%. Ooh, the bear. VZ58. Now, people are thinking these two, which came out earlier this year. And the VZ58 is, I think, what was on the Russian server or Chinese server already. I wanted the VZ58 in the lineup, but since we already have, does make sense for the Squall to be there, right? Yeah, it does make sense. VZ65. If you're going to have one Czech vehicle, then yeah, unlikely for another Czech vehicle. So I wanted to see the bear, the autoloader, at tier 9, but if you're already having a Squall in the pickup, since we already don't have a Czech crew trainer for light tanks, then yeah, unlikely for the actual heavy tank. Yeah, this is the Squall. This is likely, I say 95%. Yeah, this is very close. Yeah, I wanted the bear, but 25%. So it's either or. If you're getting the VZ58, you're not getting the VZ68, and vice versa. So DZT 159. We don't have that many tier 9s other than the Toro. M103M is unlikely. M103M is like 1%. That is purely for marathon. Yeah, it's the same as the T32M. So sooner or later we'll see the E5M or even the T29M. I would rather have a T29M that thing was original best of tier 7 vehicle. That's the best tier 7 heavy tank in the game. But yeah, M103M is unlikely. This thing is unlikely. This thing is assembly shop. It's not even close. 0% for the was it Czech? Yeah, it's Czech. 152 tank destroyer. Yeah, unlikely. Char Murat. This thing's not premium anymore. It's a special tank, so change that now. So these are already given. These are practically 100%. Practically. They also came out about the same time too. So practically all of them are given. 𝗛cie also just came out. This thing is now special, so unlikely. Gobbler Destroyer practically given 100% for a well-deserved reward. We know that now. Where the hell's the... Where's the 𝗛cie? Did I even put the 𝗛cie on here? I did. All the way up here, 100%. 𝗛cie and P103. Yep. So, yeah. Alright, fine. Can opener, 0%. That's a tech tree. That doesn't count. Sentinel doesn't even have the stats out, so 0%. Also... Oh, I even forgot it on here? I forgot it on here. I'm not that close at proof. I forgot it on here. Alright, so we're missing a vehicle on this list. I'll give you a second to guess it, but it's technically around this time. So it's actually the Kampfpanzer 3 GST term. I forgot this vehicle. Ah, crap. It's tier 8 premium German tank destroyer. Got nerfed. Got nerfed. And unlikely since this thing did not show up on the common test. It's not there on the common test. It's MIA. So I forgot it on this list. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I wanted to see this thing. It got nerfed too. Ah, damn it. Alright, Object 𝗛cie. These vehicles are pretty recent. The Prototypo, the 𝗛cie, pretty recent. So this is likely for Battle Pass. I'm saying Battle Pass. The same applies to the ERAC 105 Proto. Likely 0, possibly like 1%. So unlikely, very unlikely. Just put Battle Pass. Turchenyov ST66. So we have a Czech, we have a Polish, we have a British. 2 more are missing. And no tier 9s. The list is getting pretty small, right? The list is getting very small. And it's not that many room to wiggle around with. But tier 9s. Let's see other tier 8s that could be. 𝗛cie, way too soon. So I say 5% for the 𝗛cie. 5% for the Prototypo, way too soon. It's still kind of too soon, right? This thing is... Centurion is... tie-in. Goes on Panzer. Tie-in. Presumably. And... Murat... Tier 9s. It'll be funny if we get the Erich and the Murat simultaneously in the large box. That would be great. They are saying it's the Chinese DZT-159 and the Toro, which came out earlier than the other 2 vehicles, but they're also saying an XM57. So there are no repeats for WoT Express leaks. There are no repeats of a vehicle that already came out this year. So following the trend of years prior, we should have a repeat, but they're not doing the repeat. So they only have 2 tier 9s right here. And no repeats. Therefore, they could put the XM57. It is American, but we're missing that list. We're missing 2 tier 9s. So XM57 is out, right? Don't have enough room unless they put 6 new vehicles in the lineup, which they could do that, but you're basically diluting the amount of vehicles or amount of boxes you need to just get to the goal point of just duplicates. So I doubt they're going to put 6 vehicles, but yeah, XM57 50% I say. for now because I'm choosing a duplicate. If there's no duplicate, then if there's no CS52C, a tier 8 out of this list. This is 0. Did not even come up. This is 100. If there is a duplicate, or if there isn't a duplicate, what the hell do I pick as a tier 8? The 168G? I mean, it did come out on the Chinese server, technically. SFAC 105? That could. Yeah, there's lots of pickup if you don't have a duplicate. I mean, the choices are... This is unlikely for the cust. I would say it's between XM57, between the 122V, since we don't have a Russian. And we don't have a French too, so we could see the SFAC 105. But yeah, for my pick, I would say CS52. If not, then I'm picking possibly the 168G. Possibly. This thing was changed. It's not as frequent as with the recent vehicles, but it did got changed, I believe. Yeah, I will still pick, if not the CS52C, I will pick the object 168G. Just because. I mean, it's technically a duplicate for the Chinese server if they're following our path of holiday ops. But yeah, I'm picking 168G if there's no duplicate. Alright, that makes sense. Alright, tier 9s. 2 of them. Technically, we also could put the Chrysler, thinking back on it. Ah, crap. So many I'll put this thing as well, since they got changed in this patch. So I'll put this thing or the object. But yeah, it's a long list. That final spot is being contested. So it's tight. Tight. Alright, 2 tier 9s. Felice, Toro. Felice is not even here anymore, so this is 0%. Unlikely. I choose the wrong one. Crap. It's discombobulating. Alright. Toro. Not that great of a heavy. It's Italian. We don't have Italian. So, only thing is Polish, Czech, and British. I mean, I don't want to see the Toro. You have to animate the Toro. Ugh, God. It's not that great of a vehicle. There's not that many tier 9s. I wanted the Char Murat and the Erich simultaneously. It's 2 medium tanks too. We also have to think about heavy tank, tank to shore, heavy tank. Oh, that's not, yeah. Class is not really a representation or factor, right? Heavy tank, light tank, medium tank, tank to shore, medium tank. It's a little bit balanced for 2022. It's not really that balanced. It's a bunch of heavy tanks with 1 tank to shore and medium tank. So heavily leaning towards heavy tanks in this lineup. But then again, the same applies. Holy crap, heavy, 1 medium. Alright, they could put any freaking vehicle class. There's no actual distinction or category for that part. So you cannot put all freaking heavy tanks. You could. There's no diversity. You can just pick whatever the hell you want. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I really wanted the Erich. But the Erich is way too soon. Same goes with the Murat. These two are way too soon. It'll be funny if they put it. It'll be real funny, but way too soon. So obvious final picks. The obvious final pick is the DZT 159 and the Toro. There's no other picks. Not really. There's no other picks. You cannot put the Bear, the VZ58 in, since you already had the VZ68. I mean, technically you could, but we haven't seen a double nation of a pick, right? There's no 2 nations of the same nation on the picks for years prior. Yeah, there's no double nation pick. It's either like 5 different nations or 4. But this is hard to pick. I mean, you can make the guess and exclude based on that, right? But I really, personal pick, I wanted the Murat, I wanted the Erich together in these two boxes. But the only other tier 9s that make sense out of this entire year is the Toro and DZT159. So if it was to me, if there are no limits to the time frame we can actually pick the vehicle, I would say the Murat. I wanted the Murat, I wanted the Erich. So I'm only constrained by the time frame. If there are no constraints on the time frame, I'm picking the Erich, I'm picking the Murat. Just because they're interesting. For me, at least. But I could see the Toro. The Toro sucks somewhat. It's like a boot, like a 283 with a different turret, with a Yo tank turret. We already covered that too. A rocket Chinese medium tank with less time of a boost, but more boosts. So we just got a big caliber. We got a big caliber gun now. With the 𝗛cie, however you pronounce it. God, you guys make fun of me for doing that. But yeah, the DZT is a big caliber gun, medium tank. That's not that fast. Like a heavy tank too. So the same playstyle, practically. Alright. So with that being said, I say this is the final list. The only difference is I'm saying there's a copy of a vehicle already shown this year. So this helps out with getting the gold if you already have the CS52C. Otherwise, I wouldn't put like the XM57. It's too much. There's way too much competition for the same spot. But I'm saying there should be a duplicate, like with the GSR 1010FB. So that's my pick for this year. But before we end the video, what if, hear me out, if they're going to do this thing, the tier system. So we saw this last year with the Russian server. Once you have all the lower tier vehicles, the tier 1 vehicles, the Yak Tiger Proto, the TL1 LPC, once you have all these vehicles, you unlock tier 2. So no duplicates for gold, you unlock tier 2. And tier 2 has stuff like this, which is ridiculous. Assembly shop vehicles in your large boxes. That is nuts. So yeah, they have a new set after you finish the first stat. So you don't get gold duplicates. You don't get gold compensation. You just move on to a higher tier. Therefore, more even better of a capitalistic tendency or something. We could see that. So finally they have the Waffentrager off E100 with the golden style that's actually categorized as Russian, not German. The cope. The copium is super hard. It's Russian tier 10. Golden Waffentrager. Oh god. It's Russian. It's not even German. It's Russian. It's not German. It's a golden Waffentrager. Alright, they have it. They have it. Okay, fine. Keep it, whatever. The Chinese server follow up this year around August for their autumn loot box. The same concept. It's a tier system as well. So the first tier you get the 168G, BZ176, EBR. Oh my god, the picks are crazy. Along with the Ship TVP100 and the Boresk AAT60. So they don't have the Star Trek stuff. Interesting. And the 701. So man, they have a lot of stuff. But once you get all the vehicles, you unlock tier 2 with the 752 or the Bear, the VZ58, the Lada Stridsvorden, and also the prototype to the Chieftain and T54D. So 5%. That's very good compared to like 2.4 or 1.3 or something. What the hell? 5%? Yeah, 1.3 normally, but if you pay enough money, you get a better percentage. Yay, 5%. Holy crap. Well, they have to do that, otherwise you're paying out a lot of money. It's practically gambling. But then again, the Chinese government doesn't care. And after you get all of that, not 30%, 10% for a Divine Warrior, the BZ75. It's a skin, technically, but it's just like the Beijing Opera 113 or the Qilin 5A. Waffentrager, again, makes sense, but VZ55 and a Chieftain Mark 6. If we're getting tiered or layered or levels of large boxes for this year, that would be crazy. What if we're picking? What if? Just what if? Let's do tier 2. Second tier. Alright, tier 2. If that happens, if we're getting the Toro and the DZT 159, I'm putting the Murat. Second tier for Murat. The Erich. A bunch of tier 9s. And also vehicles that came out this year too. So we could see duplicates in this list, but it will be funny. Third tier. The only way of getting a Chieftain Mark 6 now is at third tier. For us. Oh, BZ72. Ah. Well, that would screw up all the auction, right? It doesn't matter. Fudge the auction. MBTB. Oh my god, the pics are enormous. Holy crap. And we're not doing tier system. We're not doing tier. We cannot do tier system. That will set in motion a avalanche of crap. We are not doing tier system. That would be way too crazy. Yeah, that would be way too crazy. They already have the Stone Sentinel, Basante, and the Ship TVP 100. So we could see these as skin for our server. But yeah, we should not do tiers. We should not. We don't even have that many vehicles for a tier system. You could put stuff like the extra, the vehicle that came that excluded. So XM57, Chrysler MTC, yada yada, blah blah blah. The MTC. So you can put stuff like this into the second tier. And now the picks are not as obvious, right? You can put whatever the hell you want into this lineup. And there you go. The only way of getting a Chieftain Mark 6 is freaking third tier of loot box. So I'm really don't want this thing. It's great capitalism by all means, but this is way too crazy, way too hype, way too crazy of a freaking pick. So yeah, I'm doubting for the tier system, but they are talking about it, right? The Russian server made it work. The Chinese server improved upon it with more stuff at third tier. They added more stuff at the third tier, right? Not just the Waffentrager off E100. No, they put in more stuff. Whereas originally, it's just the Waffentrager with the golden skin. But, okay. So, yeah, okay, fine. Well, there you go, folks. My picks for this year. So, leave me your comments on which vehicle you think that are likely coming out. But mostly, yeah, it's pretty much a given at this point, right? So there are not that many spaces, there are not that many new vehicles. We saw a lot of vehicle dump around August, but that's what really happens. July is a very slow month for World of Tanks, along with April. And yeah, mostly late May and April. So these 2 months are very slow for World of Tanks. Whereas November, October is jam-packed with a bunch of freaking marathons. Spread them out. Spread like the freaking Grand Marathon or the FV226 Marathon separately. You tie freaking 3 premium tier 8s in the span of 2 months. It's just insane. So yeah, not that many room to work around with. Not that many vehicle. You could put the ST66 or they also put the Turchenyov in the second tier of the loot box. Yeah, they did. along with the Char Lord AP58. We don't have this vehicle yet, or the TST, but that would be funny. That would be, yeah. So, yeah, April and July is a very slow month for World of Tanks. You saw a vehicle dump around August. That's usually indicative of the vehicles likely coming out for holiday ops, but I don't know anymore. So we'll have to see, but this is my list. Leave me your comments on what vehicles you think will likely come out. But as always, it's been fun for this entire year to guess all these vehicles, but we usually get like what? How many vehicles are there for this year? Let's see, 40 to about 50-ish, 40-ish vehicles, new vehicles in a sense, but not that many. So the choice is not that obvious, and like a quarter of it goes towards lower tier fillers. So yeah, the picks are not that crazy unless you include like old vehicles, like really old. And this year we have been cleaning up old vehicles like the A43 Black Prince Proto, the UDS 0303, the 590. All of them are ancient, but we cleaned them up this year, and Wargaming just released them without whatever, just putting another thought, but yeah, whatever. So finally, what's this year's special guest? I don't know. We need to have Stallone. We really need to. I mean, we already have Chuck. We already have Arnold. We have Arnold twice, technically, with Mila. And then Vinnie Jones. So we need to have freaking... we need to have Stallone here, right? We really do. I mean, Bruce Willis has a medical condition, so that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. God damn it. Yeah, either Sylvester Stallone or Dolph Lundgren? I don't know. I must break you. But then again, there's no Russian tank for him to break me in. Ah, crap. Well, as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. あれが未来に何度でもずっと食らいつくこの街が